Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to welcome you to my free Shopify mini course where I'm going to be showing you step by step how to create a full-time income for yourself using Shopify, using dropshipping, and really by building a successful e-commerce store and brand. And in this series, I'm actually going to be showing you everything that all the other YouTubers out there that charge money for courses, everything that all the other gurus out there, they talk about and they're like, hey, pay me $1,000, pay me $2,000. I'm going to be showing you the most that I can here in a YouTube video format in this series to basically be able to start your own store and create a full-time income for yourself. So I'm super excited. Now, you can see the title of this video is called What is Dropshipping and How Do You Make Money From It? And specifically using Shopify, because Shopify is, I would say people think it's a business model, but it's not really a business model. It's just a tool that allows you to build your own store and sell products online. That's all it is. But people, when they think of dropshipping, they automatically think of Shopify. And that's just because that's the tool that we use to actually, make money and sell products online. So recently, you've probably heard of dropshipping and Shopify, and it may have piqued your interest. Maybe, you had a friend that was talking about it. Maybe you heard about it online. You read about it somewhere that people are making a lot of money with dropshipping and tons of money with e-commerce. And basically what has been happening in the last few years here in the 2020s is that we have been going through the largest exchange and transfer of wealth from retail to e-commerce. Basically it's the biggest change we've seen in business in probably a century. Right? And, what's actually been happening is that retail is dying and e-commerce is the new wave. We've seen so many businesses just in the last few years that have absolutely exploded. They've gone from zero all the way to $1 million valuations. They're making millions of dollars in sales. And that's not even to mention the countless more people, the millions more people in the world that, they're making a very comfortable 6 figures per year for themselves that allows them to live a freedom lifestyle, that allows them to travel the world, and that allows them to basically have a full-time income, without having to work and depend on a 9-to-5 job that they don't like. So one thing I want to mention about this course that I'm doing here, why am I doing this free mini course? Am I selling anything, right? And just for full transparency's sake, I want to explain to you the reasons why I'm doing this. So, as you can see on my YouTube channel, my name is Dan Bass. I've been basically doing this for the last few years. E-commerce has been my entire life, actually since the age of 21. Today, at the time we record this video, I'm 24, about to turn 25 here soon. And so I've been involved in e-commerce for several years. I've sold millions online with e-commerce, millions in physical products, and I'm doing e-commerce every single day. I also own a company called Ecom Freedom, where we're a team of about 15, and half of us are very successful e-commerce sellers. The other half, they're more dealing with the operations and stuff of the company. But what we do is basically we help people through online courses, specifically Amazon and Shopify, to start successful businesses from zero, from no experience, right? So that's what I do. I've been doing this for several years, and you might think, oh, well, maybe you're going to try to sell me something. And the truth is that no, in this series, I'm not trying to sell you anything. This series is completely free, just like all the other, free videos on my channel. Thousands of people have been able to start successful online businesses with e-commerce, with Shopify, with Amazon, just for my free videos online. And you are no exception. Believe me, I've seen people, all the way from 18 up to 75, be able to start successful online businesses with e-commerce, with Shopify, and with Amazon. And, it's honestly amazing because right now is the best time to actually do this. There's never been a better time to do this. And the purpose of me making this free course here on YouTube is because I want to have a library of the best e-commerce content on the internet, content that actually works, content that's actually, been proven by my experience and the experience of my team. And whenever people search for e-commerce online, I want people to go to my channel and, go to my videos. That's basically why. It's kind of a selfish reason, but, through putting out the best content out there for free, in this mini course here on Shopify, teaching you basically everything you need to know to be able to generate a full-time income and to actually start, by the end of this course, you'll be able to start making your first sales. And so through that, by making this available for free, essentially, I have the best channel with the best e-commerce content. So that's why I'm doing this. And I know that this content here is going to change the lives of millions of people around the world, from all kinds of countries. And it's so exciting. And there's nothing that makes me more fulfilled than seeing people writing me messages being like, wow, thank you so much. Your content changed my life. Now I have a successful business. I'm living the life of my dreams. And, I don't have to depend on a 9-to-5 job that I hated. For me, I actually got started at the age of 20. I was super interested in entrepreneurship. I was going to university and I basically fell for the traditional, 9-to-5 traditional path. And, I had a ton of student debt and it was just skyrocketing every single year as I was going to university. And so, at the time, all I could think about was, I want to become an entrepreneur, but I just don't know how. I don't have a vehicle. And that was the biggest problem for me. I didn't have a vehicle where I could actually, use it to get into entrepreneurship and actually make money. Because at the time when I was attending school, and I was attending school in Canada, that's where actually I grew up, basically you had two options. Either you just go to school and then you do the traditional 9-to-5 path. If you're lucky, you get a nice, comfortable 9-to-5 job, you build it up to 6 figures, and then, quote unquote, you made it according to society standards. That was path number one. Path number two was you go and you try to basically venture out on your own, and you try to maybe partner up with a business partner, start up the next Uber, Airbnb, and stuff like that. This was back in 2014 when I was in school, when I was in university. And so, I knew that there must be a better way, and I knew that I wasn't going to start the next Uber and the next Airbnb or whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to figure out a way. And so through that, as the years passed by, I read so many self-development books, Think and Grow Rich, The Secret, every single self-development book out there. I've read over 400 just in the last few years. And so, through that eventually led me to e-commerce. And so, from the time that I actually started e-commerce to the time when I started making money with e-commerce, it was only 3 months. I actually started in March of 2017, and by July 2017, I was making $32K a month in sales with my products being sold online. And since then, obviously, my business has grown. I made my first $1 million that year, just 8 months after that, making me a millionaire at the age of 22, which, honestly, I could never even believe. But then once I did it, I'm like, oh, it was honestly pretty simple. Like, you just gotta, stick to something that works, pedal to the metal, and just go and get it, right? And so my message to you is that if I could do it, anybody can. And I really wanted to start off this Shopify mini course with the fact that really, if I could do it, anybody can. Like, believe me, you might think I'm 24 years old. You might think I'm young and I'm whatever, like I'm hip, like I know tech and stuff like that. Look, honestly, thousands of people I've seen in the last few years, because I've been making videos for so many years, and I've been coaching people to do this for so many years, just through my, making videos, sharing my things from my journey and the best lessons and things like that. So you can do it, okay? You can. So in this Shopify mini course, basically we're going to be learning every single step involved in getting started with Shopify, with building your own e-commerce business, and with creating a full-time income for yourself. And this video right here, you might notice by the title, it's pretty basic. What is dropshipping? Well, you might already know, and if you don't, it's not that complicated. I'll explain. And how do you actually make money from it? So since I created this course with the purpose of basically being able to transform anybody's life, no matter how much experience they have before, that's why we're starting off with this video. So obviously this is not something complex, but with each lesson, as you dive deeper and deeper into the Shopify mini course here that I'm creating, you'll find that we're going to cover so many important aspects of the business. And obviously, I can't just do like 200 hours of video because it's not going to fit this YouTube video format. But I will try to, squeeze in as much of my knowledge here that I've accumulated, having sold millions of dollars in physical products online, making e-commerce pretty much my whole life, and basically just doing this and living and breathing e-commerce for the last few years. So all of this brings us to the very first question, which is, what is dropshipping? And honestly, it's a very simple explanation. All that it is it's a business model that allows entrepreneurs anywhere in the world. All you need is a laptop and an internet connection to be able to sell their products online. It allows anybody in the world to start an online business and sell products to buyers, also all over the world, in any country, without ever owning your own stock for the product, without ever owning any inventory. And that's what makes it so revolutionary. The fact that you can just start a business. You can just start an e-commerce, basically like a store online. Imagine you're starting a retail store. Traditionally you'd have to rent out space. You'd have to purchase inventory for all these different SKUs meaning like, different kinds of products. You'd have to, do all these things and invest so much money just to be able to open your store so that people can actually come in. With dropshipping, all of that is gone. You can literally create a business that will give you a full-time income from your house or from anywhere in the world, from a coffee shop, without even having to buy any inventory at all. All you have to do is just basically, execute. And obviously you have to follow the steps, follow the proven formula. And that's really what it is. It's a proven formula. And it's a formula that is so powerful that if you actually trust in it and if you actually commit to it, then, you will succeed. You will succeed. Of course, most people that actually get in, and this is full transparency here, right? The goal of this, my goal with this series is to bring as many people to success as possible, wake up as many people in the world so that they actually realize the opportunity with e-commerce. Most people, what I find is that they give up really early, even though they see how much potential there is with e-commerce, they just give up. And so, that's why I really stress the importance of the fact that, look, it is an incredibly powerful business model. There's never been a better time to start an e-commerce business, and there's no reason why you shouldn't succeed. You absolutely should, commit fully. You absolutely should just go with it, right? And if as you're watching the series, if everything makes more and more sense to you and it fits your life path and you're like, yep, this is what I'm doing, forget about any other business model, commit to this. Before I got into entrepreneurship, I was what's called the drifter. I actually learned about this in this book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And in that book, he talks about how most people, the reason why they never succeed is because they constantly drift, meaning that they walk around through life without ever figuring out what it is they want to do. Maybe they say they want to get rich, but then they're constantly trying out different things, getting their feet wet, but never actually committing, right? Never actually committing to one business model, right? So you find this online nowadays, 1 week, the guy's doing stocks, 1 week, the guy's doing crypto, 1 week Bitcoin, 1 week e-commerce, right? You're never going to succeed if you're going to do that, right? So you really have to commit. So what I recommend is just watch every single video and follow along and really, really commit to this, because this really has a very high chance to drastically change your life and to just completely broaden your horizons, change your perspective on everything in life, because that's exactly what it's done in my life. And since I got into e-commerce has given me everything. So let me show you how it works. You start off by doing product research, and basically what you're doing is you're trying to find a profitable product opportunity that you can launch on your own store. Now, this process right here takes maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, up to a month. Some people, they really stretch it out. It takes them 2-3 months, but we all are on our own paths, right? And I like to say that our destinies, they're all different, and no two paths to success are going to be the same. So that's why it's so important to just trust the process and just basically know that as long as you're showing up every single day, you will succeed. Okay, so that's what we start with, product research. Now, once you find a product that doesn't have a lot of competition, it seems like it's a product that people would actually want and it would be valuable to sell it to a particular target market. And I'm literally talking about products like, for example, in these products I've experienced with from before, some teeth whitening device, or a laser hair removal device, or, some beauty products like derma rollers or jade rollers, right? Things like that, just basic things that actually fulfill the wants and needs of a particular target market. So once you find a product, the next step is to actually find a dropshipping supplier. So a supplier that will actually be able to dropship the product for you, so that you don't have to order any what we call bulk orders, meaning that you don't have to pay a lot of money up front. Instead, you'll find a supplier that you basically create a dropshipping agreement with. And what you'll do is you'll put up the product on your own site. So you actually create your own Shopify store. You put up the product, you make it available to buy, then you launch the store. And as your customers are going on your store and making purchases, they're buying your product. What you do then is, so let's say you get $20 for your product from a customer, and let's say that your product costs $5 including shipping to actually manufacture it in China. Usually it's in China. That's where it's the easiest, the place to actually find dropshipping suppliers. So $5 including shipping directly to the customer, and that's the beauty of dropshipping. So it completely bypasses you and it goes directly to the customer. So if you have 1,000 customers all over the world, what your supplier will do is that they'll actually drop ship the product. So they'll ship out the product individually to each customer's address all over the world, and that's what really makes this business model so revolutionary. And so essentially you're pocketing the profit between what your customer is paying you and what your supplier is charging you in terms of the cost of goods, meaning the cost to actually purchase the product from them, and then also the shipping costs. Now, there's also one more cost that you're going to pay, and that is your advertising cost. So typically with dropshipping, you've probably heard of Facebook ads, you've probably heard of other ad traffic sources, maybe TikTok, YouTube, Google. So that's usually the way to actually start your dropshipping store and to start making sales. So let's say if the customer pays you $20, your product including shipping to the customer costs $5, and then let's say you spent another $5 on Facebook ads to actually get that customer. Well, that means that $20 minus 5, so you're left with a profit of $10 on that unit, on that purchase. So that's obviously a really simplified way of explaining this, but it really doesn't get more complicated than this. So that's how you can make money with this business model. You find a quality product, and then you basically create a store with it, and then you find a supplier who's willing to dropship the product for you, typically using Aliexpress.com, or, and I'll talk about this later, Alibaba, which is an upgraded version of the dropshipping model that I created. It's called branded dropshipping, so I'll mention that here in a second. We're going to circle back to that, but that's where you find your supplier, and then all you have to do is you talk to them, you negotiate a price for the product, just so you know how much it's going to cost you, and then you also find out the shipping price to usually we call it the big four. So the big four countries in e-commerce are the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom. So you can actually sell anywhere in the world, by the way. It doesn't matter where you're from. But what we call the big four, these are the countries where usually most people find the most luck in starting e-commerce stores, just because the people in these countries are already so used to purchasing online, and they're very just used to internet purchases, right? Although the world is rapidly catching up and you can really just sell anywhere, right? So you'll figure out the shipping price, and then you basically, create your store. You make it look nice using Shopify. You get some nice product pictures for your product, and you can get this yourself. Maybe you have a friend who has a camera and they can do it for you. You can find them on websites like Upwork.com, where, there's tons of freelancers on there that will do it for you. Then you can go and create some ads using Facebook ads. And, there's a whole process involved with this. It's really simple. The best kinds of ads are always the problem-solving ads, where you show the problem, you show the solution, and then, you get the person to basically visit your store and buy it, right? So for example, one of the products that I sold was a magnetic wireless car charger for one of my brands. And so for that, the ad was very simple. I was basically driving down the highway, and then all it was like, tired of old clunky phone holders that don't even hold your phone and don't even work half the time? Well, check out. And then I mentioned the product and the brand, right? So it was that simple. Those are the best ads that convert. And that's basically dropshipping. That's the basic model, right? But there are problems with this model, and that's where branded dropshipping comes in. So myself, I actually started off with Amazon FBA. There are two business models when it comes to e-commerce. There's Amazon and there's Shopify. And I just started with Amazon, and there's no specific particular reason for that. It's just the one that I kind of fell into first. And a lot of people ask me, which one should I start with, Amazon or Shopify? Look, if you're already watching this series, then just stick to Shopify, just because you can succeed at both. It really depends on the one that you commit to and just choose for yourself. Eventually, once you build up your e-commerce store and you really build up into a brand, you will have to have presence on both Amazon and Shopify anyway, just to make sure that you have multiple sources of income. The statistic goes, the average millionaire has about 6 to 7 streams of income. And I can tell you for myself that it's true. I have about the same amount of income streams as well. So that's why, eventually you're going to be on Amazon and Shopify. But going back to this, I started off with Amazon, and then when I got into Shopify, I was actually really reluctant in getting into Shopify because there were a few problems with the business model that really prevented me from getting into it. The first problem was the fact that with dropshipping, well, essentially the customer is just getting a product that has no brand, no logo, and it comes straight from the Chinese factory if you're working with a supplier from China, which likely you are, right? That's because those suppliers, they're usually the best for most products, and they're willing to actually dropship the product for you. Meanwhile, with US suppliers and suppliers from other parts of the world, they're more likely to ask you to actually order in bulk. So number one, no logo, no brand, and that kind of messed with my conscience, just because people would be getting this cheap looking product with no brand. People in America and Canada and Europe are used to buying branded products. So when they get something that looks like it just came from Aliexpress, there might be some level of, regret that they bought it, and they're like, I could have just this literally looks like it came from the dollar store and I paid like $20-$30 for it, right? Because people are actually more prone to spending more money on the same product online than if they were to actually go to the store. And that's another beautiful part about e-commerce, is that for the same thing that most people would have before, they would have gone to the dollar store, they would have paid like $2 for, people aren't afraid of just, buying it on Amazon or on Shopify, on a Shopify store for like $10, right? Or $12, just because of the convenience factor, the fact that they can just pay for it online and then they're going to get it straight to their house, right? So that was the first problem, no brand, no logo. Second problem was the fact that, okay, it's literally going to take like 3 weeks minimum to ship the product and for the customer to actually get it from the Chinese supplier. And so I knew that was a big deal breaker right there. And so those two problems, I basically said, okay, if I'm going to do drop shipping, I'm going to come in and I'm going to figure out how to solve these. And that's where I invented branded drop shipping. At the time of me making this video, if you type in Shopify on YouTube, my 2.5-hour branded drop shipping video is actually the first one. It's ranked above Shopify's YouTube channel itself. And that's because in that video, that's really where I talked about the branded dropshipping business model for the first time ever. And, it's so powerful because I figured out how to get a logo on the product, how to get the brand on the product, and also the fact that I figured out how to get 2 to 3 days shipping. So with branded dropshipping, what the difference is, and this is, in my opinion and in my experience, the absolute best way of starting an e-commerce brand. All e-commerce success now and in the future comes down to basically selling valuable products that will actually solve a particular target market's problem or will add value to a particular target market's life, right? So if that's the goal, well, of course, we can't just be dropshipping forever. We can't just, sell products with a logo and have people wait 3 weeks. In an Amazon world, in a world where Amazon Prime exists, you can't expect customers to just wait. They would, for them to want to wait 2 to 3 weeks for your product. They're just going to endlessly complain, and then they're going to dispute and cancel their order or refund, right? So that's why for the first few weeks or the first few months of the branded dropshipping model, model, what you're going to do is you're going to just drop ship the product. You're going to try to get a logo on it. Some suppliers are willing to put a logo on the product. Most will not unless you are ordering in bulk, which is fine. In that case, you can basically get the product without a logo. And instead, what you can do, and this is really like a pro tip here, you can actually ask your supplier to include a product insert with your logo on it. Because what's going to happen is when you're going to reach out to a supplier, and I love Alibaba for all my e-commerce suppliers. Aliexpress has a lot of very, very just like, scammy suppliers on there, and, a lot of middlemen, and you're just going to end up paying a lot more for the same product than if you were to go direct to the supplier in Alibaba. Alibaba is less for dropshipping and more for private labeling, which is like, you basically order like 500 units and you get your logo on it and things like that. So I actually love Alibaba. That's where I go for my e-commerce product if I'm starting a new e-commerce brand. So basically you contact an Alibaba supplier and you just basically explain to them what you want to do, that you want to drop ship, and then, you just want to test out to see if the product's going to sell or not. You ask them for a logo on the product. They might say, oh, we have a minimum order quantity, an MOQ of 500 or maybe 250, right? Basically, they're going to say that usually they can't get your logo on the product without you ordering in bulk. Sometimes they'll say like 1,000 MOQ or even, 1,500. Usually it's like 500. In that case, what you can do is you can negotiate. Everything is negotiable with Chinese suppliers. Everything. You have to assume that, whatever they're saying at the beginning is because they know that you're going to negotiate everything down, right? So just assume that. And if you don't negotiate, you're just playing yourself. So basically, they might be able to get a logo on your product with drop shipping. I've had that happen, but most of the time they're going to say no. If you want to get a logo, you have to order in bulk, and you do not want to order in bulk at the beginning with an unproven product because you don't know it's going to succeed. So that's where the product insert comes in, because instead of paying, $5 a unit, and then, they make you buy like 250 or 500 units, and now you can pay like 10 cents a unit or 5 cents a unit for the product insert. And, if you get them to print 500 of them, that's fine, because 500 times 10 cents is only $50. So, that's much less of a risk than just going out there and paying $1,000 to $2,000 for an unproven product. So you can get them to include that product insert with each of your drop shipped orders, and then you can just basically launch your store, and then you can start making sales. You can start getting customers to actually buy the product, and then that way they're actually going to get the product with the product insert instead of just getting no logo. That's only temporary, right? So with branded dropshipping, you're only dropshipping for a temporary amount of time until you actually make a few thousand at least in sales. Once you've made a few thousand in sales with dropshipping, right, and you will inevitably get complaints about the shipping time just because there really is no other way of getting fast shipping from China to your customers. You can ask your Chinese supplier for shipping methods like FedEx, DHL, and even Aliexpress. That's like usually the fastest one for drop shipping, which can be maybe a week or under, but usually it's going to be 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, right? So even if you do get complaints from customers, that's fine. Just basically explain to them that, yeah, we're working on our shipping times, and just understand that you're drop shipping for a temporary amount of time. Once your store has actually made a few thousand in sales, now you're ready to actually make your bulk order from your supplier. So now you can actually order, for example, 250 units or 500 units, and then you can order them to your house. Let's say you live in the United States, and then you can just, individually ship out each unit from your house using your local carrier like FedEx, DHL, or UPS. And then that's going to be way faster, because if you have an American customer, for example, and you're in the United States, well, right away, the shipping time is cut by so much. They can get it within a matter of a few days. And even if you're in Europe, you can also ship it to your house, although the shipping time will be longer. You can also use something called a 3PL, which is a third-party fulfillment warehouse. There are tons of services out there like ShipBob, ShipFusion, where you can basically contact them, and then they'll store your units. You can actually ship your bulk order from China to the fulfillment warehouse, and they'll store everything for you. And then whenever you get a sale, they'll actually ship it to your customer with the fastest possible shipping. So there you go. The two problems solved with branded dropshipping. Now you have a logo on your product, or at least you have some branded material, and also you have fast shipping. And so the goal is to basically get to a point where you are making bulk orders within the first 3 to 6 months, and you are offering fast shipping with your product as well, either by fulfilling it yourself from your house, but eventually you do want to use a fulfillment service. Later on, if you're also expanding to Amazon, you can actually also use Amazon's fulfillment service called Amazon FBA, which I'm going to talk about later. But that is basically dropshipping in a nutshell. And also, I talked about the biggest problems with the traditional dropshipping method. Anybody online that tells you to create general stores and test out millions of products, that's all BS. You don't have to do that. With branded dropshipping, which is the method that I created, basically you've solved all these problems, and you've actually created a real e-commerce brand, that actually provides valuable products to your target market. And what I want to talk about here briefly is the law of money. So when you're starting an e-commerce brand, you have to look at this as an actual business that you're starting. It's not some kind of get rich quick scheme. It's not some kind of, push button A, push button B, and then you're a millionaire. No, you're starting a real business, and you want to go at this with the goal of selling valuable products. So if you have that in mind, and if you basically follow the law of money, then the world can't help but to reward you. The world can't help but to, make you a millionaire if you've basically given that same amount of value back to your target market. All money in the world, all millionaires and billionaires made their money on the exchange of value in the form of valuable products and services. And I'm not talking about the illegal ones, right? I'm not talking about people who made their money illegally. I'm saying legally, right? So that's how all money is made. And you want to remember that goal. You want to basically align everything on your side. So your goal is to create an e-commerce brand that will sell high quality products and services. So now that you know what dropshipping is, and specifically what branded dropshipping is, the best method to actually start a successful e-commerce store and brand that will allow you to make a full-time income, I briefly want to talk about limiting beliefs. A lot of people, when they're getting started with e-commerce, with online business, they have a lot of limiting beliefs. They've been conditioned in their life that, rich people, they basically get there by stealing or by malicious means, or, rich people are born into it. They're not made, they're not self-made. This is all BS. This is not true. 80% of all millionaires are self-made. When I learned this myself, I realized that everything that I was taught up until that point in my life was a lie, and I had to completely rewrite my paradigms. There's a fantastic book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. In that book, he talks about how if you want to change your life, you have to change your paradigms. So remember that as you're going through this YouTube series that I'm creating here, this mini course, remember that your subconscious mind will try to hit at you with all of these various limiting beliefs that, oh, maybe it's not for you. Oh, maybe you can't do it. And maybe you're not going to succeed with it. Maybe you're just going to lose all your money. And you have to understand that you can only win with this, because either you will create a business that will just absolutely transform your life in such an insane way that your life will never be the same ever again. You'll have abundance, you'll have financial freedom, and you'll just be so much happier. Either that happens, or you will learn, and through the skills that you're learning here in this series, like the internet marketing skills, you will find something that will align to your own door and to your own path. And basically what I'm saying is it's a win-win. You can't lose from this. And I want to let you know here that this series here that you're watching, it's not a coincidence that you fell on this. And I'm so excited that I get to go through this journey with you here today, that I get to share all this knowledge and experience that I have from my own e-commerce ventures and my own e-commerce journey with you here. There's going to be a lot of useful links below in this video. Subscribe to the channel to make sure that every time I post a new video to this series, as well as any mindset video that I do, I always create videos on a lot of topics with entrepreneurship, getting rich, abundance, and wealth. You'll get that notification right on your phone. Ring the bell. Thank you so much. Tune into my podcast as well if you like podcasts. I'm always on there, and I'm talking about abundance and the freedom lifestyle, the freedom lifeline, achieving it. So thank you so much. I'll see you in the next lesson. Let's get started.